The Buffalo Bills had a disappointing loss on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars, as one of our home games had us flying all the way to London to play them. And it was a close game, but Jacksonville pulled it out, and those guys get paid too. Jacksonville played a good game. So for any Jacksonville fans that might be watching this, this isn't about Jacksonville. I'm a Buffalo Bills season ticket holder and a member of Bills Mafia, so I care more about what's going on with the Buffalo Bills. I made a video before the game about 3 things to look for during the game. One of them, could they stop Jacksonville's Josh Allen? And I think he's one of the best players in the NFL. And last time we played them, he had a fantastic game. I think for the most part, the Bills were able to minimize Josh Allen during this game. He had a couple of good plays and some good pressures, but for the most part, I don't think he had the game that he would have liked to have had. So that's one good check mark. Now the other two. Will the Bills come out sluggish was the other thing. With the long plane ride in from Buffalo to London, and Jacksonville already being there for 2 weeks, will that have the team come out sluggish? I think it certainly did. The Bills looked very, very sluggish in the first half at least, and it took them a while to really get into the flow of the game. I don't know why these games start at 2:30 London time, so that fans in the States have to wake up at 9:30 in the morning to watch a football game. I mean, just start the game later, and then the game's starting when the Bills usually are used to starting. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. A lot of things about this game didn't really make sense. Why we're going there in the first place is one of those reasons. One of those things that doesn't make sense to me. But I do think that affected the game. Now, to the Bills players' credit, they did not want to say that after the game. Almost all of them said they didn't want to make any excuses of why they didn't win this one. That they're the players and that they need to win the games. However, Travis Etienne, the running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, did come out and say that he thought that it had a major impact in the game because they were no longer jet lagged like they were the week before. So it did have an effect on the game. I don't care what anybody says. And Roger Goodell, apparently he said that it was an experiment to see if a team could stay over there 2 weeks and play another team coming over with no week for jet lag. Experiment failed. And don't experiment in the NFL anymore with the team's health and a lot of other things on the line. So, I mean, these guys make too much money. They work too hard. The fans are paying too much money for season tickets and for other things to experiment on something. So, experiment failed, and a negative on that part of the game. The last part was injuries. Now, when I brought up injuries, I was bringing up Greg Rousseau as one of the injuries I was worried about, that he didn't even make the trip to London, and he was going to be missed. However, this man, AJ Epinesa, really stepped up. And I'm not saying Rousseau wouldn't have had a great game too. He probably would have. But AJ had his best game, as he knocked down like 3 passes, had 2 sacks, including a strip fumble, several tackles. I mean, the guy was all over the field. AJ Epinesa's best game since he played down in Miami a few years ago. I mean, maybe he just loves this fast turf, but great game, AJ. Keep it up. Keep up. Keep working hard, and keep playing like that, and we'll have a great season. The other injury was shown. Tre'Davious White, his injury is going to hurt us all year. I mean, losing him for the season was a major, major fall. But then I knew we also had Benford and Jackson that could step up, and that those are pretty good corners. Well, Benford got hurt in that game against Miami too, so he wasn't able to go this week, and hopefully he'll be able to go next week. We'll see. I think he's listed as day-to-day. But Kaiir Elam hadn't played a game this year, this now being our 5th game into the season, and I think it showed. Kaiir Ridley is a really good wide receiver, and I don't think that Kyer did the best job, and I don't think he would be happy with the way he played. I think Kyer Elam is a fantastic corner, by the way. And I think he's going to play great, and I have all the confidence in him. I think even towards the end of the game, they brought in Jamarcus Ingram to take his place because he was having some struggles out there. So, but the defense only gave up 25 points, I think. So that's not really the problem in the game. The offense looked so sluggish, and in this game, I felt like the Bills could have taken advantage of the corners on this team. So where other games I wanted them to make sure that they took the checkdowns, this game I actually wanted them to throw downfield more, and they did, but not until it was too late. And you know, they had didn't have enough time on the clock left to make the comeback. So that's just a coaching thing. The other thing on the coaching side that I'm starting to worry about a little bit is the Buffalo Bills are really good at attacking the 4-3 defense, but this is another 3-4 defense like the Jets have too, that the Bills seem to have a little bit more of a problem against the 3-4 defense compared to the 4-3 defense. So just on how they attack it. And the running game was just non-existent in this game. They had no running game, but Josh actually, I thought, played pretty well. He had one interception, but it was one of those 3rd and 15, I think, and he threw it deep, and Diggs almost got it, and it was intercepted, and they ended up getting the ball on like the 6-yard line. So not really worried about that because that's like a punt. So that's fine. But yeah, those are the things on this game that I really thought hurt the team. And the penalties. There were a lot of penalties. You know, we've talked about that in the preseason, and we thought we'd put that past us. I know that this officiating crew tends to throw a lot of penalties, but it seemed like the Bills were getting more penalties than Jacksonville. I think it was a lot more penalty yards on the Bills side than on the Jacksonville side. So there's the excuses for the game, and we don't like to make excuses. And credit again to the Bills players for saying no excuses. We got to go out there and get the job done, which they do. They need to go out there, get the job done, and win the game. But that didn't happen this week. Now on to the New York Giants, as a lot of former Buffalo Bills are coming back to Buffalo, as it looks like even Tyrod Taylor may be the starting quarterback. But we'll get into that in another video. Another thing to talk about with the injuries was several Buffalo Bills got hurt during the game. And it looks like we now have lost Matt Milano for the season. And Matt Milano had been playing I think he'd been playing like the best linebacker in the NFL. And that's not just being biased. He's been playing amazing. And now he's out for the year. Daquan Jones also got hurt in the first quarter. I don't know the status of his injury, but that's not good. Taron Johnson went down for a little bit. Several Bills players got hurt during the game, most of them on defense. And I know a few players were wondering about the turf there. And the turf has become a big issue in the NFL. Why do they keep playing on turf? Why do they keep playing on turf? Well, they went over to England, and they have a stadium where they play soccer on grass. And they took out that turf and put in an AstroTurf turf. Well, if it's such a problem that they're playing games on turf everywhere, why would you take out a grass field and put in a turf field? Maybe it's the painting of the field. That's the only thing I can think of. But let's put players' injuries over painting. And so a couple players said that it was like playing on cement over there, that this was the worst field. And I know that they had been trying to do some things with this field to make it better with some sort of little green pellets. With another experiment. And, you know, how many experiments do the Buffalo Bills players have to go through in one game? But again, all we can do is move on to the next game. So we're moving on to the New Jersey Giants, coming into town with all of the former Buffalo Bills that you can think of. And it'll be a fun game, interesting game to be at on a Sunday night. Go Bills, and remember, God loves you, and so do I.